Hi, this is Zena Harris.
And I'm Mark Rabin.
Welcome to the tie-in.
Hey, Zena. Nice
Hi,
to see
Mark.
you this week.
Good to see you too. Good to see
It's,
you.
yeah, spring is in the air. It
I
is
know.
amazing weather here. I'm in the mountains and yeah, the snow is melting and there's amazing spring skiing and everybody's got a little jump in their step.
I know. I feel it. I feel it. I physically feel lighter, better, energetic, like all this because I know, things are, shifting, seasons are shifting, spring is here. Let's go.
Yeah.
So,
I feel that we're on, it's like I mean, things are moving fast. I mean, I'm looking at the summer. It's like, okay, people are booking up. It's people are
mhm.
planning to like out to October now.
Oh, I know. I mean, yeah, we're talking like about things in October, November, and I'm like thinking, gosh, this year, like it's already
I
like
know,
all
I know.
these. And there's a lot to do this year. There's a lot stacking up. There's a lot milestones I feel like we're gonna hit. Hopefully, these kinds of
Yep.
things are all
And
kind
big
of
changes, big
yeah.
changes. I think nobody can deny the fact that whatever industry you're in, whatever country you're in, like there are some major shifts
Hmm.
happening, right? And
Yeah.
geopolitically, energetically, spiritually. I don't know. It's all
Uh,
happening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One of the things I find interesting, and I think COVID kind of taught me this or brought the awareness, was really just paying attention. So, like paying attention, like kind of sitting with stuff for a moment and paying
Hmm.
attention. And I noticed this, talking about spring, kind of bringing that through line through. Um, you know, the trees are blooming right now. Like it's beautiful. And I just sat yesterday on my porch, did some work, but also just looked out at what is happening in my yard,
Yeah.
and just kind of took it in for a moment. Like, okay, and I don't know, like, I, I was more aware of all this during COVID because we didn't, we took walks in the neighborhood, didn't really have anything else to do, that kind of thing,
Hmm.
where it's like, okay, now I'm looking at the leaves of the trees and like really looking at them and just wondering and all the stuff. So it just, that's a kind of a blessing, I guess. And I've kind of held on to that over these last few years. So yeah, nice.
Yeah,
It's
I love
nice to
it.
be changing seasons. So
Time of renewal and also I think we're still feeling the ripple effect of South by Southwest.
totally.
You know, really impactful as you know you our listeners will hear on the podcast. A lot of our content and a lot of stuff that we're following up with are sort of South by Southwest related or adjacent.
Uh-huh.
That's still, putting all those pieces together has been interesting and fun.
Yeah. I mean, people we met, we're following up, as you say, and kind of connecting with them and learning more. And then it just turns into, another thing, another thing. Hey, I want to introduce you to this person, all of that. So super cool. Definitely like an experience, right? Like this
Hmm.
festival has been quite an experience and we're still feeling it. So, um,
Yeah. And
yeah.
it feels like, for me, it feels like part of the momentum. We heard a lot sort of like under our breath, or people were talking just sort of like really quietly about, oh, the changing geopolitical landscape and how does that
Uh-huh.
affect climate change technologies and sustainability. And honestly, I think in some ways it's kind of empowered a lot of the folks because I mean, there's a number of climate week coming to LA and there's SF Climate Week, a lot of initiatives. They're not stopping.
No.
In fact, it feels like they're picking up steam and they're hitting a critical mass. So I think that's something interesting to keep our eye on and as we sort of explore our, next 3, 6 months to a year. But it seems to me, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but that it is kind of picking up steam,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. I
an
feel
old school
like
term.
folks are kind of doubling down instead of
Yeah.
like, kind of expecting that this is just going to be, like, oh, we're going to follow these regulations, or oh, this is going to be, now a demand or whatever the case. And it's like now may not be, these kinds of, the drivers that once were are not. So those kinds of things are shifting. And I feel like people who are in this space, at least I get the sense like are doubling down. Like, all
Hmm.
right, well, now we have to do it. We have to take
Hmm.
responsibility. We have to figure out how we want this to roll and how we want to talk about it and all this. And just interestingly, and I don't, maybe this is shaping how I'm thinking about this, but I've been on an Audible binge this week, and
Mm.
I've been listening to I just got the Let Them book by
Hmm.
Mel Robbins, and I've been listening to it on a commute that I'm doing this week for my kiddo. But just so I've got that one and listening to it, said this is all about like letting go or letting people be. You can't control other
Hmm.
people's behavior, and then what can you control? Your own. This, and then kind of going
Hmm.
through all that. And then I've got on my list one that you recommended, Notes on Complexity.
Yeah.
So, and then Threat Multiplier by Sherry Goodman, who we
Yeah.
interview
I've
for
got
this
that on my wish
podcast.
list.
So
Yeah.
look out for that convo. Um, so those are just a few on my list. I'm just curious if you got
Oh man.
anything on yours.
Well, let me look at my list here. I mean, right now, I kind of balance between a few different topics and genres. I am actually listening to "Living on Borrowed Dust"
Oh,
by James Hollis, who I don't know, I may have talked about him before, but he wrote a very important book that called The Middle Passage. He's written a lot of books just on the human psyche, and so he's in the very last part of his life, and so he's written a book called Living on Borrowed Dust, which has been really, really great. I actually have queued up Donut Economics.
oh,
Yeah, by Kate Raworth or Rayworth, and that was suggested to us from some of the
oh, yeah.
Denizen folks. So definitely looking forward to diving in deep. And it's funny, I actually have the Giza Power Plant by Christopher Dunn. And I don't know if you've been following or not, but there's been a whole bunch of controversial stuff coming out last past week around by a bunch of Italian researchers saying that they have using sort of space-based satellite technology identified huge columns underneath the pyramids of Giza.
Oh, no
So
way.
yeah. So again, it's like, the old guard is saying, um, like, oh, it's this kind of like fake news and BS, and it's not what it is. And then you've got everybody else, the dreamers and the some new wave archaeologists and scientists that are like, see, we told you it was down there. So it's probably somewhere in the middle because obviously it's still very early days in this type of technology that they're using to look deep into the ground. But I don't know. Anyways, that's what's kind of been taking up a little bit of my brain space because I love this stuff and because I'm in an energy nerd.
You
And
are.
everybody always is like, okay, these pyramids of Giza are not tombs. Are they power plants, or are they what kind of ultrasonic energy generators or whatever, right? Alien landing terminals. I don't know, but
I haven't heard that, so you're definitely on another level.
yeah, but the recent news coming out has made like global news around like a very scientific approach that there's some sort of space underneath, the Giza Plateau, and it's causing a big stir. So I
Oh,
don't know, listeners out there, if you've been following this, but it's pretty cool and kind of far out.
okay, cool. Well, curious to hear how that all pans out when you read this book or, more of this comes out in the news. So,
Yeah.
um, okay, okay. Well,
Now
gosh,
back to our regular programming.
yeah, exactly. Thank you to all our listeners. Really, really appreciate it. We've had some lovely conversations with people
Hmm.
who are listening to the podcast and hearing your feedback and wonderful things that you're saying. And thank you for sharing it with your colleagues and stuff.
Yeah.
That's super touching. Really appreciate it. And yeah, do look us up online and send us a note. Our email address is on there.
Yep.
And
Climate Week, right?
Climate Week is coming up. What
We'll
is
be
that?
in LA for Climate Week.
April
So yeah, if
8th.
you're there, April 8th,
We'll be
moderating a
there.
panel on April
hmm
8th at Lacey, 10 a.m.
hmm
So do get in touch with us then. And yeah, there's lots of momentum happening here on the West Coast. That's for sure.
Yep. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to our South by Southwest interview series. We're here with Kevin Barr, who's the COO of Hill Country Studios, which will be the premier studio here in Austin. Yeah, we look forward to speaking with you. Maybe give us a little bit of background yourself, how long you've been in the business for, and what's going on at Hill Country.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And very nice to be with you both. So yeah, currently I'm the CEO of Hill Country Studios. Hill Country Studios is a studio development happening about 30 miles south of Austin in San Marcos, Texas. On 200 acres, we are building sound stages, workshops, production offices, sort of a tier one production facility, similar to what you'd see in, say, Los Angeles, Georgia, New Mexico, these places. So just premier infrastructure we're trying to bring to the state. Working on a very competitive and fantastic tax incentive that should be coming online next year. Austin, Texas as a whole is really growing with production demand. Entertainment industry is really growing in all leaps and bounds in the state. So we're bringing the infrastructure piece, which to any sort of main market you see for film and TV, you just sort of need key or quality infrastructure, the stages, the facilities that are kind of built to spec, built for purpose, all of that. So we want to be bringing that to the state, and hopefully we see Texas turn into one of the more bigger emerging hubs, not only in the U.S. but maybe internationally as well.
That's amazing. And so the studio, though, is just outside of Austin, and you haven't broken ground yet. So you're just currently still in the planning stages. Can you speak to us a little bit about what stage of the development you're at?
Correct. Yeah. So we've had sort of been working on the development and the, I guess you call it horizontal work of the land the last couple of years, getting all the civil engineering done, permitting, some land mitigation, making sure we're sort of on above board with how we are treating the property, figuring out the exact design and layout, working with power companies, doing all the underground infrastructure. So we're sort of kind of scratching the land, you can say right now, and we're priming for construction hopefully later this year. Start going vertical on some stages and offices, workshops. So yeah, ideally we're trying to get up and running by sort of middle to end of 2026. But yeah, currently in the development process.
Yeah. And it's described as a state-of-the-art studio facility. Can you talk a little bit about what that means to you? What's state-of-the-art?
Yeah, state of the art is, before Hill Country, I was with Netflix Studios for several years and Pinewood Studios, and part of teams that were managing large studio operations, globally. And when you think state of the art, premier, it means really built to the spec of what a production needs.
Yeah.
The power, the air, ancillary space for exterior shoots or parking, soundproofing, height, all those sort of key elements that need to go into whether it's a box or a full kind of production campus that they can really utilize and optimize their productions, their efficiencies, their builds, their parking, their operations, their logistics. Everything can kind of flow and be efficient as possible. And when I think state of the art, that's what that provides, productions of any level.
Yeah. Yeah. So folks can come in from anywhere, find everything they want at your facility.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our hope and our plan. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. How has the development process and kind of discussions around all the great things that you guys are doing, how has that been taken up here in Texas? I mean, is that part of the, is everybody excited? Are you finding, new, I guess, conversations, entryways with various organizations here. How's it going?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a really strong, film and media community already. Great homegrown industry of directors, producers, great talent already living here, a great crew base. It's been a great experience just working and partnering with local vendors, production companies. It's the coalitions kind of lobbying for the incentive, lobbying for more work here, kind of trying to really grow the business, not only in Austin, but all throughout Texas. So it's been a great experience, all kind of gathering together, seeing how we all sort of fit into what we're trying to get to. Working together, being open, and really being collaborative in how we can really take what we have now to the next level. Our part is the infrastructure piece, is that, that's kind of planting the flag of studios. There's other studios in development, which is great. There's some studios in Austin, which are fantastic. So I think it's all a great sort of collaboration right now. And as we kind of know what's here and all get to know one another and see how we can work together, we're also seeing more companies come in, more of our partners that are established in other film markets wanted to be in Texas, seeing Texas as their next place to expand and set up operations. So it's a great sort of evolving group really working towards growing this business.
That's amazing. And the property that you have, we were going to go to it, unfortunately, but just the timing didn't work out. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that. But are you able to are you going to have a back lot as well on that land? Or are you working, or do you have like other specific like land use that could be done for all types of different applications,
it's
Wild West stuff?
Yeah, so we have a great benefit of this having, essentially being pretty land rich. 200 acres is a large amount of space. But the infrastructure piece, the building piece will be, about 70 acres of that. So we have, a lot of, open area, whether it's raw backlot, we have rolling hills and some quarries and cliffs and rivers and trees. And so a lot of variety of like actual practical locations, but also a lot of opportunity to lay down a 2-acre backlot pad that you can set up a green screen or build an exterior set. We could have multiple of those. We have some property across the street to grow more of a vendor base. If we see more kind of permanent companies that want to partner with the studio and need 20, 40,000 square feet of a facility or workshop or warehouse space, we can build that and evolve and grow into that. And we've partnered with a great real estate group called the SEMA, who's building a massive community right now with houses and residential and apartments. They have about 5,000 acres in their development that they've been growing and planning over the last 10 plus years. So with them, we also have access to some of the residential housing in the neighborhoods, but also another couple hundred acres of more backlot and raw land space to shoot or just, see what a production needs and see if we can help them out with it. But they've been great partners to open the door for us to that as well.
That's amazing. And how important for future productions that are going to come from afar is an angle of energy efficiency, sustainability, whatever you want to call it, renewable energy. Is that a factor when folks are looking for a studio to work with, or is that something that you're just looking at into the future as it's an important thing for the studio?
Yeah, I think both. I think it's there now, and there's a lot of ways to make it work better, more efficiently in the future. And as a studio and in my background, Netflix working with sustainability teams and groups that are really trying to find how to evolve, whether it's the studio, the buildings, the assets, and to be more sustainable or more helpful, resourceful to productions, or it's the gear, it's equipment, it's the crew, it's the workflow. Just trying to find those ways you can be more, eco-friendly, sustainable, just across the board. I mean, from a studio standpoint, our design is trying to be as green friendly as possible. From the materials we use regionally, we have a lot of stone on our land, which we'll use for cut and fill and for paving and for some of our retention walls. We are trying to have kind of buildings and everything placed together, so you're not wasting resources, go back and forth to different buildings. Everything's kind of efficient and sort of set up and in-house and on site, so you're not really needing mobile equipment or the generators or just things that are not only added cost, but obviously are not as sustainable as you'd like some of the equipment and resources to be. So from the operations standpoint, we're trying to set up that for our clients, and then also kind of see where the productions are going with their movement more towards maybe off-grid trailers and transportation gear, battery-powered generators, recycling centers, or be able to kind of compost or do something with the waste. Even the construction departments we work with or have I've worked with in the past, you're trying to find a way to recycle or have another crew come in and use that and just not throw it away. And maybe it gets another 6 month or a year lifespan of certain materials or equipment or lumber, whatever it is. And you're not just kind of taking it in 6 months and then everything just gets chucked into the garbage. You want to just find whatever ways, grassroots or more, I guess, larger, broader kind of corporate mandates, that you can bring up that more eco-friendly, sustainable actions in place. So I think it's to me it's a production by production thing, because you're really trying to find what works, because everyone wants to make sure they're efficient and they have costs to worry about too, just like a studio. But it seems like everyone's on board to find and adopt those new ways. It's just trying to see what's good for now, what's going to be good for the future.
Totally. And you have the benefit of kind of taking what others have done, really putting that forward in your design and build. So that's fantastic to hear how you're thinking about it, and what the possibilities are with jobs locally and probably community partnerships too. How has the local area embraced this idea of a big development?
Yeah, I think it's been very, very positive for us, and the community's excited about it. We've worked with the San Marcos, the Greater San Marcos Partnership, the Tech State University, other community enterprises and businesses, and really trying to be open with what we're doing, how we're doing it. In our lands over in Aquifer, we're trying to be very much above and beyond with the code requirements to make sure water, land, all the environment disturbances aren't there. We avoid that. We think, we see what studios do in other parts of the country and internationally. When you bring a studio like with Trilith now, or Pinewood Atlanta Studios in Fayetteville, Georgia, or Albuquerque Studios in New Mexico, just the amount of business and economic impact it has, and just not only just the community or area, but the region, it really spreads out. Mostly a clean industry. We're making a product of content, but it's done in a very clean and efficient and very, they're not trying to be a sort of avoiding the dirty work at all possible, which is, I think, good for the community, and then the businesses that can participate in what productions need, from dry cleaners to hotels to car rentals to wardrobe to it's just endless, the list of vendors that a production uses, and it's all as close to the studio as possible, because it's good for them. To save that time and money of having everything as close to their base of operations as possible.
No, it's fantastic. We did a survey maybe 2 years ago of global facilities globally, asking about what they were doing, and also talking to studios in LA, what are they looking for when they're going to locations. And the number one thing was a great tax incentive, but the second thing on the list was, how do they contribute to our sustainability goals, which I thought was really interesting. So it sounds like you're going to fit right in there with that kind of want from studios, and enabling kind of that sustainability to happen kind of naturally at your facility.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the facility standpoint want to be, just our design of all the stages or workshops insulated. Doors, everything is over insulated, so obviously it traps in the heat, traps in the cold. You're not really needing to open up the door and bring in outside air, or roll in a external HVAC unit. Like you have that in-house air and utilities that are the spec you need, adjustable. Some of them smart on the censored or smart operations, so if you're leaving a room, the lights turn off. If your door's open, the AC will turn off. So just things
smart.
that are just smart. It's saving everyone money too, which is what's great on the back end of it. It's something we can at least provide or make kind of easily usable, or you can easily figure it out from an operations standpoint for any production. And then EV chargers. We want to partner with companies like Hollywood Trucks, other equipment companies, other production supply companies that do have more sustainable products and offerings, especially that they know crews in these departments are trying to use them and want to use them. It's just what a lot of it's just about, is it available and where is it and how easy is it to get? So to have that kind of partner base or vendor base along with us will really make it feel like it's a full service operation of everything you need. But also it's doing as much as they can from a sustainability standpoint as well.
Yeah, for sure. So you've been working on this development for a little while. What's next? Where are you in the process? What's the next step?
Yeah, so next we are pretty much shovel ready as of recently, as of a month ago. Working through everything with the city, the power company, all the design and ancillary needs for the start of construction. So just putting a construction plan together, getting our budgets right, getting our build and our phasing kind of locked in. That's where we're at now, trying to work through that, and then hopefully be at a position to start building, ideally later this year, and then we'd be ready by end of 2026 in that sort of that time frame. So changeable with the developments. We're going through the process, but that's our aim right now.
Well, that's amazing. Have you had the opportunity to do a studio from the ground up like this before?
So I was part of the Pinewood Atlanta Studios development in 2015 in Georgia, now called Trilith, but that was a large. It's probably 30 plus stages now, but at the time we built 6 in one year and 6 another year and 6 after that. So seeing it kind of go ground up and how fast it can go, and then the vendor base coming in and building a warehouse or a box for them to use. It was a very exciting sort of thing to see from the ground level up. Yeah, so it's been a cool thing to see, and I'm excited to see it here.
Right. So you've got some good learnings.
Yes.
What were some of the big challenges that your takeaways from those previous projects that you're able to bring forward and be like, hey, we got to steer clear of this, we got to do this differently?
I think it's just the kind of getting the core design and core assets down. What do the productions really need? What are they always going to use? What's really reliant on them, and is the main value prop for them being at a studio or needing a soundstage or needing a workshop, and really focusing on that, so that's done the best way and most cost efficient, but also making sure as much of the buildings and the design has everything they need and is optimized to its full potential, so that they've kind of got everything they need very much set up, good to go, ready to use. And then sometimes there's nice some ancillary design or buildings or things you can bring on, but it's always good to kind of start with the core main principles and then start to do we need more backlot space? Oh, maybe we can do a New York facade on one of the street walls, or we can add a commissary because that's what they really need here. But I think it's you see some designers trying to do everything at once, and that could be just sometimes a little bit it could be cluttered, or you're sort of expecting it all to be at the same rank of importance for a production, when you really, it's good to focus on stuff that's really important to them, that helps their day and helps their jobs. So those are probably the biggest learnings. Yeah, and then plenty of parking.
Yeah, plenty of parking. People just love new things. I mean, they love to be in new buildings and be the first ones in there and use all new gear and supporting ancillary gear and everything like that.
Yeah,
that's gonna be exciting.
And it's always a big learning. I think every studio and every studio operator experience this. But no matter what you build, a show or a production will come in and just want to change. A small thing, a window should be over here, not over there. This wardrobe space should be facing this way, not that way. So it's just, there's always going to be this, kind of creative or personal preference. So you have to build it as a finished product as possible, but you always know there's going to be some changes and adjustments along the way, which is the fun part, to kind of adapt to see what the end user is really going to want and how they're going to really want to use this space.
Totally. No, that's exciting. Just shifting gears a little bit, obviously the industry's been down a little bit from last couple of years. Obviously there was like a sort of a peak content, lots of stuff going international. How are you sort of working with ensuring that that Hill Country Studios is in the game, when things sort of start, either they're going to come back, or what's your assessment on the market today?
It's been we keep a close eye on it. Since we've started even the development process, it's trying to be in touch with the major studios, the production companies, the content creators, of where they're shooting, why they would like Texas, what they would need out of a studio like ours. We want to make sure we're fitting what the market's going to bear and where the demand is. And I think the last couple of years was definitely a downturn and a bit of a shakeup with the disruptions of some of the strikes and some of the the big content spends with these studios getting looked at. We have reevaluated. Some productions going internationally versus the U.S. or vice versa. So I think it's just in a shifting phase of, okay, how much content is going to start to average out year to year? Where does it want to go? And see how that evolves, kind of in this, I guess we call it the new normal, post strikes. But no matter where it goes, I think most, if not all the main markets, the three biggest things are that, the incentive a strong crew base, and then
Yeah.
also really a studio infrastructure piece. Those are like the best, those sort of three pillars you really need to scale a production hub, and I think get the big and bigger shows and bigger TV, all that stuff, to really want to not only try it out, but also stay there.
Yeah. And a fun town to hang out in.
And a fun town to hang out in. Yeah, the intangibles. Yeah, is this a place that we want to be? And it's got lifestyle. It's got a lot going for it. It's not in the middle of nowhere. It's really it's already an exciting city to be at, and folks want to be there.
Yeah.
And now bringing more of a film industry to a place like Austin, and even Dallas and San Antonio. Houston has projects. Midlothian has a great series called The Chosen. There's a lot of places in the state that are drawing people not only for the filming qualities of it, but also the lifestyle too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we ask all of our guests this same question because we're curious. We interview a lot of different types of folks working in different aspects of the industry. We are trying to create a new playbook, if you will, of guiding principles. And I'm curious, from your perspective, what can you offer, what one or two guiding principles for, I guess, sustainability in entertainment, or innovation in entertainment, or the built environment? What can you offer us in terms of one or two kind of guiding principles to put in that playbook?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, to me, it's a little like, micro before macro, in a way of like, if we have a studio and we have production coming in, it's like what's going to help them, and what sustainable practices or offerings can they really use, and that they really is going to get benefit from, and a good experience from, or they can maybe do this 10% more the next show, or if the studio had this, we would be using this, or whether it's EV charging stations or whatever that battery operated generators, or whatever that case may be. So really identifying like where you can really collaborate on those practices from one production to the next, and then seeing how it grows, but also tracking it too. I think it's one thing to say, hey, we've got all this gear or these design that's meant to be used by production, or it's going to be a great green initiative for the studio, but is it being used? Is it helpful? Why is it a positive? What are some of the negatives? It's an evolving industry and evolving business. I think this is also something that's going to have to evolve and grow and just be adaptable too. And I think that would be our approach, just like start from our kind of micro level of a studio with each client, and see where we can implement that, and vice versa, and then try to grow it and scale it from there.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, awesome.
Is there anything else you want to share with us, or where can folks find out more information at Hill Country Studios?
Yeah, hillcountrystudios.com, our website. We're sponsoring festivals at South by Southwest. We've partnered with a new production company, Generator Entertainment. Some great producer, writer, management team out of LA, working on some exciting projects with major studio partners that are trying to do more in Texas. We're part of the lobbying effort right now, passing this new incentive. So
which will be in June,
which will I think will all be finalized in June. Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, and but right now it's our website, and we're on all the socials, Hill Country Studios. But otherwise, hopefully look out for some announcements of us going under construction and up and running over the next couple of years, and hopefully that's part of this new Texas wave of production in the film industry, really trying to take off here.
I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it was good to talk to you both.
Okay.
Cheers.
Our designer is Aaliyah Kane. Music is by Peter Chapman. Our producer is Colin Miller.